you get.
Oh man, thank you for joining us today, Johnny Z, and thank you all for joining us as well. Welcome in to KARE 11 News at noon. We're going right into the weather today as we track all that damage that has been left behind by Hurricane Milton and dozens of tornadoes touching down in the south. John, I know that we tracked that storm through the night as it hit. What are we seeing now?
Yeah, well, right now, the good news, if there is any right now, is it's going to pull out in the Atlantic. It's not going to come back and hit the Carolinas, which we desperately didn't need from what they went through. You nailed it, though. The tornadoes, a big part of this, we might end up having 40 plus. And the difference with this storm was there was large tornadic activity. So there goes up the track of the hurricane. You can see it made landfall in Sarasota as a Cat 3, Category 3. Now it is pulling away. It's still a Category 1 storm right now, and we'll track this out. And this is what I was talking about. It looks like it will continue to move out away from the coastline. This is obviously important. You see the L, that means it's also expected to weaken to a tropical depression, and then it should get out of here by Saturday. Rainfall was incredible. What was interesting about this was the worst storm surge was actually where there wasn't much rain, and that was Fort Myers. You can see Fort Myers only saw a couple inches of rain. The rain dumped on the north and the left quadrant of this actual hurricane, and that included Orlando. Look at some of these numbers. Orlando, Tampa, anything on I-4, north of I-4, very busy road there. Again, you can see a foot of rain estimated. We saw some places over 16 inches of rain, but it tapered off very quickly south of Lake Wales and even Sarasota, where it took the brunt of it. Remember, Sarasota actually saw the landfall. They only saw 3 to 6 inches. Compare that to Tampa's 12 inches of rain. So there was a lot of dynamics to this hurricane.
John, thank you. And we're taking a live look now over Fort Myers, Florida, where you can see rescue crews continue to look for people who have been trapped by that flooding that John was talking about throughout the path of the storm. And at least 3 million people have lost power. And right now, we know 4 people were killed by tornadoes created by the system. NBC's Jay Gray is on the ground in Fort Myers with a look at the damage.
Yeah, look, we want to give you an idea of what Fort Myers is dealing with now in the aftermath of Milton. And you can see this ripped away awning, the roofing from what is a gas station here. And they're not pumping gas, though there are a lot of people who need gas right now. This is the result of a tornado, and this system spawned a lot of tornadoes, dozens across the state. Just behind us here, there's a home with the roof that's torn away a bit as well. And so they're dealing with that. Also with the effects of this hurricane as it rushed through, hurricane force winds, obviously, driving rain. There's been flooding in the downtown area. We know that the storm surge pushed water into some of the businesses here in Fort Myers as well. There's still millions without power across the state. And while the storm has finally kind of cleared Florida and is back out into the ocean, now comes the time to really assess what's happened here, to figure out how to move forward. And for a lot of people, they've had a lot of practice in that, unfortunately. They've been dealing with these storms back to back to back for the better part of 2 years at this point. That's the latest right now here in Fort Myers. Jay Gray, NBC News.
And one of the top questions being asked by people outside of the storm's path is how to help those being impacted. One option is donating blood right here at home. Even before Milton hit, there was a critical need for donors because of Hurricane Helene. The Red Cross said hundreds of blood drives were canceled due to that storm, leaving them down more than 2,500 blood and platelet donations. Our Kaya Edwards stopped by Memorial Blood Center to share how you can make a difference.
We're at Memorial Blood Center's downtown Minneapolis location, where right now people like Carolyn are donating blood. Why do you do it?
I donate because I know that there's pretty much always a need somewhere in the Twin Cities, in Minnesota, in the United States. And it's easy to do. It doesn't hurt, and it feels important.
Carolyn, thank you. And we'll take it over to Phil now from Memorial Blood Centers.
So the issue with natural disasters like this is really, it compromises the area's ability to collect blood in the future, and in which case we want to be prepared to be able to come to service. Only about 3% of the population donates blood, so we need to encourage people to change that number and like Carolyn, get people to come back in more than once a year.
There are always a list of options, right, for where you can donate blood, the locations, when to do that online.
Right, at mbc.org.
Thank you.
mbc.org.
Thank you so much, and we will send it back to you.
We have continuing coverage of Hurricane Milton on KARE 11 Plus, our streaming app for your TV, including live reports from Florida. You can scan the QR code or go to kare11.com/plus to learn a little bit more about how to get the app. Well, here at home, we're expecting another warm, calm day, John. Very different than what we're seeing down south.
Yes, I mean, you almost feel bad for it, right? It's so gorgeous here right now. Temperatures are going to be on their way to the 80s. This was an interesting day because we woke up this morning in the 40s, and now we're going to go into the 80s. So it was still chilly this morning. Heated it up. We're going to heat things up to our warmest day here this month, and we're going to see temperatures struggle to get back to the low 80s. I will tell you, there's not going to be a lot of warm days like this left out there. Several cold fronts are going to be moving in, so we are looking at a very big change, and frost is going to be possible next week. Look at the temperatures here. They cooled down to around 50, and then they just rapidly took off, but it's still chilly morning. Now we're sitting at 65, but we're going to warm another 15 degrees in the afternoon. A big question people always ask me is, why does it not warm up until the afternoon or later on? And it's because of the sun. We lose so much of the sunlight at this time of the year. It takes an extra hour or two to kind of get going in October. That's why it's only 65 at noon, where in the summertime it would already be at its high temperature. 68 in Eden Prairie, 66 in Blaine, 65 here in the metro. Look down southwest, already at 80, 75 in Wilmer. So temperatures continue their climb here as we are on our way to a very warm afternoon, getting up to around 80. We'll hover there from 3 to 5 o'clock, and then we'll dip. Very nice night tonight, but there's a cold front coming through later tonight. It will add some clouds. We'll talk about the dip coming in your forecast.
John, thank